Peep this out, guys. It's E&K back again with another one for you. The Friday night live stream in effect, guys. Happy pre-Halloween to everybody. Let me make sure that everything is working correctly as usual here. I'm going to swing on over and make sure that everything is clean. It looks good. You guys let me know if you're seeing everything, if everything is coming through. Let me know if you guys can give me a thumbs up. Let me know that the resolution is looking good on your side. You guys can hear me. I want to make sure that you guys are not missing anything here. So let me know if everything sounds okay. Yes, you can hear me. You can see me. Everything is good. Nice, nice, nice. Welcome to the pre-Halloween live stream, guys. We'll get started with a couple of things here in just a second. We'll go over some quick little channel updates. I've got a fun little countdown of some scary movie stuff. And it should be a lot of fun here. So let me swing back on over to my streaming software because there's no delay there. It is live in effect, so everything is cool. Very, very good. Let me see who we've got on the check-in here. If you guys want to tell me where you are streaming this from, where you're watching this from, and while you guys are doing that, I'll let anybody know who's tuning in right now. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is E&K, creator, producer, and host of Peep This Out reviews here on YouTube. Basically, fun foodie features all over the place. I love creating high-quality content and giving you the sexiest look possible of all the things that I take a look at there. So I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far. If you're not currently subscribed, please consider doing so. Definitely hit that subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner of your display, and we'll have a really, really good time together here. So lots of fun stuff. Almost 12,000 peeps in the squad that we've got here. So thank you so much for patronizing my channel, for being with me. Many of you guys since the very beginning, so thank you so much for that. Let me see who we've got currently here. I'm going to start from just the top and scoot down here. Diego, nice to see you on here. Thanks so much for jumping on. Kyle, Dilbert Doe, one of the first ones always on there. Zaina Boss, Philly Feet, what to do, what to do. Nice to see you guys on here. Jason Callan, ready to get it going here. Butt shaking to my EDM music in the very beginning here. Very cool. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll to the very bottom here. Let's see who we've got. I'm going to shoot through. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm still working on trying to get a moderator for this right now because my chat thread moves very quickly. So I'm going to try and answer as many questions as possible. If you guys can, definitely maybe re-ask it. I'll try and catch it as much as I can here. But I'm definitely not trying to ignore anybody. But we've got a lot of stuff to go over for sure here. So let me see. Vengeance Falls is watching on his phone. Very cool. I think most people are watching on mobile. Sarah Star Vlogs and Reviews. Happy Halloween. Halloween is the best time of the year. It is the ultimate time of the year for me. I absolutely love this time of the year. It's pretty much Halloween year round, but naturally around October, of course, it kicks up. Thanks so much for jumping on, Sarah. Fade and Tragic, Fresno, California in the house. We've got Virginia strung out as in. Texas from Sarah. Jason is on his laptop. I think he's out closer to Albion, Pennsylvania, I believe, as well. Let's see here. Vanessa Buchanan, content cost spam. Good old iDevs. You can't live that stuff down. Very cool. What's your favorite scary movie? We are going to get into that, actually. I've got about 15 different things we're going to take a look at here. Everyone's always asking me to pull some stuff off of the back here, and you guys may see some little Easter egg things. Some hints of some stuff around me, something maybe creeping over my shoulder right over here. We've got some lit up things here as well. We've got a few different things to kind of point you in the right direction. So again, it is great to be on here with everybody. Let me get a little bit more comfortable here so I'm not so cut off. Great to be on here with you guys. Guys, it has been a very, very busy couple of weeks for me. Let me just start off by saying right now, Tony A. from Orlando in the house. Thanks so much for jumping on. Cranesville from Jason. He's also confirming for me here. Very, very cool. Thanks so much for jumping on. Roanoke, Virginia from Gorilla Strong. Right in there. Appreciate you jumping in. Tonight's drink of choice is actually in a Superman cup, but it is actually water tonight because I'm actually going to be going out after this. For those of you guys who don't know, usually after my streams on Friday nights, I usually do taco night with the wifey, and that's probably what we're going to be doing right now because we haven't had tacos in a little bit. I've actually been out of the area for a while. I'm kind of just getting back to my basics, back to the norm. Ever since going back to Atlanta later on, actually early last week, I should say, trying to recover from that. So much has gone on since I've been back just trying to produce content and get things done for Arby's, which was a fun thing to do, one of my first sponsored things. I've done a few of those in the past, but it was fun to work with them as well. Let's see here, going down the line. Kyle, Ian behind you. Yes, I know. Look at that right over there. I don't know about this right here. I don't know about this at all right now. But good stuff indeed. I got to tell you guys, it's been a a very, very busy 2 weeks, like I said. Atlanta for Arby's, coming back, had a wedding that I went to last weekend. Bunch of events this week. If you guys are following me on IG, the IG story, last night was the Haunted Hayride. A lot of fun stuff. I'm not complaining. Believe me, I'm not. It's definitely a lot of fun stuff. But finally, I'm caught up. Everything is good. I can continue on with my regular projects that I've got in the loop right now. Disneyland, this past couple of days ago, I filmed a couple of food reviews, some quickie ones there, which you'll see coming up this week. Possibly one this weekend. So we've got some stuff to look forward to for sure on there. Has anybody seen The Farmhouse King yet? Any reviews of The Farmhouse King? I caught one of them today. I'm trying to get caught up on content. And my boy, RDR Food Reviews, was one of the first ones that I saw that dropped that. So I watched his today, and he loved it just as much as I did. If you guys haven't seen our reviews, definitely look up RDR Food Reviews as well as my own right here on the channel down below. You'll probably find it there, one of my most recent reviews. But definitely a lot of fun, guys. That one was really, really tasty. You can't go wrong with an egg on a burger. Now, I haven't had a chance to take a look at the comments for anything on there. But what do you guys think of eggs on burgers real quick before we jump into the Halloween stuff here? What do you guys think of that personally there? Do you think it's kind of like, you know, that needs to be on burgers more? Do you want to see more fast food restaurants try something like that? Because the execution from BK, I got to tell you, was pretty well done. It really was pretty tasty, I got to say. That was really, really good. Could have been the combination of the sauce, the stuff that was on it too, but very much a fan of that one for sure there. And you guys, you can't go wrong with those King burgers. They're just hefty suckers. Half a pound of beef there and lots of cheese, and anything they put on for the promo is just really, really tasty. So let's take a look here, see if we get some responses back. Vengeance doesn't like eggs. Sarah's going to be trying it tomorrow. Very cool. Enjoy that. I can't wait to see what you think of that one, Sarah. It's definitely good. Critical Eats Japan is in the house, just celebrating 5K, I believe, as well. For you guys who don't know, Critical Eats Japan, definitely doing it down on the other side of the planet, literally. And I believe it's the morning time over there right now, so you guys should be jumping on over. He's got an awesome band that he's in, and he just celebrated a milestone, so congratulations to Critical Eats. Really, really great stuff, and he knows what he is doing on his channel. I'm telling you, it is really, really tasty. Tasty, tasty stuff that's on there. All right, so let's see here. Going down the line, we've got Epic Zombie Killer in effect. Very cool. And let's see, going down the line here. Awesome stuff here. Very cool. All right, so Critical Eats have I seen? Dame drops. I haven't seen Vanessa. No, not in a while, actually. I haven't seen Dame in just a little bit there. Philly Feet, RDR's channel. Eggs on burgers is a must for Dion. Yes, I agree. RDR on the check-in right there. What's up with it, Ian? What's up with it, you, my friend? Great to see you. How are those lobster raviolis? I'd like to know. So definitely let us know here on the check-in here for sure. It would be amazing. So let's see here. Yes, Critical Eats celebrating 5,000. It's noontime over in Japan right now. Wrapping some prizes from the draw yesterday. Very cool. I will be catching up on some content, but I got to be honest with you guys. Everybody knows what dropped at midnight last night, or in this case 2 days ago for Critical Eats. Basically, Stranger Things 2. Season 2 is out right now. So I am actually, that's one of the reasons I'm streaming an hour earlier tonight, because we want to get some tacos, get ready to go, and we're going to be streaming a few episodes tonight, which should be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to see what's up with that there. So it should be a lot of fun with that one for sure. So with that said, I thought we would get into a little Halloween goodies. A lot of people, like I said, are always asking me of all the movies and everything that I have in the back of me here right now, what are my favorite movies? And I decided to pull a few of them here. Some of them I haven't seen in a while, but I pulled 15, and I kind of categorized them for something that I remember when I was a kid, all the way down to the ultimate movie that I actually come back to pretty often, even usually not around Halloween time, but it always is actually kind of fun. So we're just going to go down the line here and see if you guys agree, if you've heard of these movies. If you haven't, there should be something that you should be writing down. If you've got a pen handy, I would recommend that you write some goodies on there. Let me know what you guys think of my taste in horror movies compared to what you guys may like. This is a total interactive session here right now. So again, I appreciate you jumping on. For those of you who have not already, you can definitely hit that thumbs up down below, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see if we can get this trending going here. And every so often, if maybe one of you guys or some of you guys can let me know how many peeps are watching, because based upon my side here, I can't really see, using the streaming software that I have, exactly how many peeps are watching this. But if you can share this broadcast out with your friends, it would be a lot of fun. Let's see if we can get a lot of people that are in here to discuss some of these horror movies goodies that you're going to be taking a look at. I have a feeling Jason's going to love some of these that you're going to see right now. So, Elizabeth Ricard, nice to see you on here. Young Dia is up in here as well. Let's see what we've got here. We know we've got RDR that's in the house, of course. And a lot of the usual suspects. I appreciate you guys coming back here. Epic Zombie, we will definitely talk about The Walking Dead towards the end. I wanted to discuss that a little bit with you guys. A little on the fence with that, but I'm not going to say anything more about it. So, let's get into one of the first ones here, and I've got 15 of them lined up here. I've got like a stack next to me here right now. So I'm going to see if any of you guys remember these movies here. For some of you who haven't, like I said, write this down, make a mental note of it. These are some of the movies that I think you should possibly want to check out because they're pretty entertaining. Of course, they're, you know, cheesy in a way in some of them, but I think you'll like what you're going to see. First one, Night of the Demons. Now, you guys may not be aware of this, but this girl, or this demon I should say, on the very front of this is Liana Quigley, who's one of the original Scream Queens from back in the day. So she was actually in a lot of the horror movies, I believe Return of the Living Dead and a whole bunch of other ones. I want to say Silent Night, Deadly Night, but I could be wrong with that one. But Night of the Demons, this one is kind of a classic here. This one came out, I want to say, let's see if it actually tells me here, 1987. Guys, 87. Okay, for those of you who want to do the math, I was 14. So this movie, actually, I got to say, kind of freaked me out. Basic breakdown of this one is a crazy party in a mansion. And some people actually make their way down to the basement. Some type of something happens. Demon gets loose. People get possessed. And it is just a crazy situation from that point there. But Night of the Demons was actually pretty awesome, I do have to say. So, let's see. Your live chat is blocking. Oh, to the other side. Sorry about that. Okay, other side. Night of the Demons. Liana Quigley, right over here. Thanks so much for that that assist there, Critical. Let me know if you guys have seen this here. This one actually, like I said, it's kind of a schlocky horror movie, but it's back when they were using more prosthetics back in the 80s anyway. It was before CGI. There's a lot of puppets, a lot of just, you know, kind of cheese there. But it's got some nasty sequences in it there. And, of course, it's the usual, you know, kind of like, you know, the teenagers running rampant. It's a huge mansion, so there's a lot of promiscuity, you know, we should say. But of course but the effects were pretty decent. It was a pretty nasty movie special effects wise. And again, Liana Quigley was one of the ones who was actually well known for being one of the biggest Scream Queens out there right now. So you guys should be really checking this out here. This is where a lot of this stuff comes from. A lot of these older movies are where the term Scream Queen comes from. Jamie Lee Curtis from back in the day, Liana Quigley from back in the day, and all the more modern ones, I guess, that we have now. But Night of the Demons, very nasty, very, very nasty indeed. So this really freaked me out when I was like 14 years old, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. So naturally, I like watching this on DVD. Now, there are Blu-ray versions of some of these movies. I'm going to show you the Blu-rays on some of the ones that I have, but the ones that are DVD have a certain grain to them because of the resolution, so they're a little bit more closer to the VHS that they used to be. So that's why I kind of like watching it that way. When it's too polished and too HD, it looks a little cheesier that way. So when you watch it in the raw form, try and look for it this way here. So definitely Night of the Demons, without a doubt. So next one up is another classic, 1985, Fright Night. Tell me you guys have heard of Fright Night, as I'm trying not to let the glare get in the way here right now. There we go. Well, I guess that's decent right there. Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowall, and Amanda Bearse, who you may remember from Married with Children. Definitely a very, very fun movie. And this one here was directed by Tom Holland, I believe. He was a special effects guy, if I'm not mistaken. But this one here is a classic in terms of just like, you know, the vampire next door. This movie here was remade actually a few years ago. I want to say with Colin Farrell, I believe, is what it is. And I think I have that movie, but it's kind of forgettable for me. So this one, I'm telling you, is an instant classic there. It's got some really cool things to it there. Naturally, you've got Chris Sarandon, who kind of plays like, you know, the vampire guy, kind of like the Rico Suave. He's like a real, you know, hip dude, you know, and he kind of seduces the main character's girlfriend in this movie, and nobody who believes that this guy's a vampire next door, and the kid, you know, who's living next door is trying to like figure out like, I got to expose this, something is going on. So yeah, Fright Night without a doubt is a classic. You guys need to see the original version. It still holds up today, and it's easily one of the best versions out there. Vanessa Buchanan, can you view Leatherface? You know, I do have the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I didn't pull that one. I probably should have there because I was thinking of things in recent memory. But again, another instant classic from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one, Tobe Hooper from back in the day. But this easily is ridiculous there. Ridiculous in terms of what it is. So we've got, let's see, Epic. Are you a fan of the Stephen King? If so, have you seen Christine? Yes, I just watched Christine a few nights ago, and that one doesn't hold up as well. The music is great. But I definitely enjoyed the film either way. RDR, I appreciate you checking in, my friend. Very cool. Peace out. I know it's very, very late on your neck of the woods over there after 11, almost 12 o'clock-ish or so. But thanks so much for jumping on. I appreciate it. Keep doing what you do. Definitely knocking it out there. So Fright Night, guys, easily a classic. Avoid the remake. It's nowhere near as good, obviously, and they usually aren't. But really, Fright Night is a classic. Now, this next one is easily one of my favorites as well. All of these actually are. Hellraiser. Now this one, you guys should, most of you guys should know this here. Pinhead, without a doubt. Doug Bradley, who played this this character here, essentially one of the demons from hell. Once you kind of solve this puzzle box. Let's see, Jason Callan, Leanna Quigley was in Silent Night, Deadly Night. She was impaled by antlers. That's right, that's right. But Hellraiser, 1987. This one was one of Clive Barker's first movies to come out there, and pretty much his creation at the same time, I should say. Kind of like a sensual horror type of thing at the same time as well, but overall just very nasty imagery. For those of you guys who don't know, it's basically the story of an infamous puzzle box that seduces people, that, you know, you can have untold pleasures and riches, primarily pleasures and stuff like that as well. Like I said, it's a little bit more on the adult side. But if you actually don't do the right thing and you don't solve it correctly, these guys show up. One of them called they're basically a group called the Cenobites, along with two others that he usually travels with, and they basically torture you for all eternity. So it's actually a very, very ridiculous movie at the same time, but the special effects were decent, and it's got some really nasty imagery. This version that I have on DVD from years ago actually includes the sequel, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I thought it was a nice little extension at the same time, but it kind of started to make the Cenobites more like good guys, and that's what kind of really didn't really do it for me there. So, but again, next step in terms of special effects, not so much CGI, not so much puppetry, more puppetry I should say, but more special effects if anything. But Hellraiser is an instant classic. There have been rumors of this being rebooted, and hopefully we'll see what happens here. The original actor played it all the way through until I think like the 5th or 6th movie. Most of these movies came out on DVD only after that point, and the very last movie wasn't even the main actor playing this anymore, so he looked kind of different. But if they ever come back and do it again, I would like to see them try and use the original actor, who's still around, a little bit older, obviously. But this was a classic. Hellraiser, the original, is a classic. So, good stuff here. Vengeance Falls. Ever heard of the song Hellraiser by Ozzy Osbourne? Not personally, no. At the end, you know, I might have, but we'll have to see here. We'll have to see. I'm trying to think if I can go back and say that I've heard that. I'm sure that they've had some tie-ins and some people who used the license, but I couldn't say for sure. Let's see. Sean Mallory, new to your channel. Seen you through Ken Dominic. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Ken is a good buddy of mine. Definitely a cool guy. Epic Zombie. Let's see. Are you a fan of Friday the 13th? You're going to have to keep watching. We may or may not get to that. We'll have to see. So, Hellraiser, easily a classic. Now, guys, this next one is one of my all-time favorites, and this is one that I do watch pretty often because they haven't made a movie like this since to do it as well, especially for the format. Creepshow. Guys, Stephen King's Creepshow, for those of you who don't know, the original screenplay was actually by Stephen King, and this was actually classic. Believe it or not, also, this was directed by George A. Romero, who recently passed away from Night of the Living Dead, the creator of pretty much the whole zombie genre, personally here. So, for those of you guys who don't know about this one, basically this is Stephen King and George Romero getting together. It's essentially a comic book come to life. Think of like the old Tales from the Crypt comic books. E.C. Fields, I believe, was back in like the 50s and 60s when horror was really kind of gruesome, was more cartoony. They basically took the comic format and created an anthology movie where there's a main story with a little kid having this comic book, and then the comic book, you go into the comic book, and then you actually experience the 5 stories for each of the various, you know, things in there. So essentially it's an anthology movie at the same time. But Creepshow is an instant classic. This one here still holds up today. There are so many great sequences in this one here. Ted Danson is actually in this from Cheers fame, you guys may know. Leslie Nielsen from the Naked Gun movies is actually in this as well. Let me show you the back of this actually here so you guys can see. This is Bedelia. I Want My Cake, Bedelia, one of the very first episode of the anthology of Father's Day. A father's coming back from the grave from his kids who actually, he was a very unruly father and they actually killed him. He comes back to life and he was looking for his cake. It's really creepy. Some of the imagery is creepy. It ends off with this one here at the very end with the whole cockroach thing, which is really nasty in itself. But guys, Creepshow is an absolute classic right now. Absolute classic. It is really, really amazing stuff here. The horror genre is something that I've been a huge fan of ever since I'm a kid. And when I got older and got old enough and I was working and I obviously have my own place, I wanted to make sure that I built up my collection. So I've been actually collecting DVDs and Blu-rays since 1995, since the format began actually for DVD, believe it or not. There was an old website called 800.com which was offering like 8 DVDs for like a penny to get started, and then you kind of go from there. I remember back in the day. But Creepshow, instant classic. Creepshow 2, not so much. Not so much. It's decent. It's a shorter film, but nowhere near as good as this. And they actually did a Creepshow 3, which was a lot more lower budget. But again, no bueno. Go with the instant classic. I'm telling you, this one holds up. This Halloween, while you guys are streaming Stranger Things, have this running in the background along with maybe Halloween. These are actually classics. You guys should be rocking that out. Next one, more recent. Take a look at it. The Conjuring, the original. The Conjuring 2 is pretty good as well. I do have to say, this is actually a really good, well-done film here. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in this particular one. The story of the Warrens, Lorraine and Ed Warren, actual real-life ghost hunters. Ed Warren, who passed away a few years back. His wife is still continuing on with that stuff there. But these are movies with that genre, following the two of them investigating various things. And this one, I gotta say, was done so well in terms of just how it was done, just the special effects, the graphics, just, overall, it's more modern, but still very freaky. The whole sequences in the house on top of the armoire in the kid's room when things were getting crazy. It's just a real nasty film at the same time. So the original Conjuring, by far, is classic here. So not too much else to say about this one. Make sure you guys check it out. It is a very, very great film. And how would I not mention the original Night of the Living Dead with, looks like Judith Odea and Dwayne Jones. This is the original from back in like 1968. Back in the day, I believe. And it's been so long since I've opened this DVD. There's like nothing in it except the DVD. But amazing stuff here as well. This guy's, you obviously know, as I'm hitting the microphone, Night of the Living Dead is the granddaddy of all zombie films. It is the creation of the genre, and it really is, as I'm trying to move in here, there we go, so you can kind of see it. It's the creation of the genre from George A. Romero, and just to kind of read you the basic idea here, this had such a traumatic beginning, also especially for the time there. But a small Pennsylvania town, an unexpected surprise awaits Barbara while visiting her father's grave, accompanied by her brother Johnny. She stares in horror and disbelief as an awkward man in a disheveled suit, overpowers Johnny and begins to eat his flesh. Left alone to fend for herself, Barbara seeks refuge in a secluded farmhouse. She discovers that she's not the only one who's affected by these strange goings-on. A family and a teen couple, a man named Ben, have already locked themselves inside. Frightened, tired, and hungry, the group desperately search for an escape. An old radio is there to link them to civilization, and news reports start coming in. Aren't comforting. Fire wards them off. Kill the brain. You kill the ghoul. Before the sun can rise again, only one of them will be left alive. So this essentially is kind of the beginning of the whole Walking Dead genre in terms of not focusing so much on the dead, but the actual people dealing with the situation. And sometimes that's worse than what's trying to get you from the outside. So this is really where everything owes homage to George A. Romero, God rest his soul, for creating a genre that everybody the world over has been trying to imitate, with countless movies, countless various TV series that attempt it, with the most successful one being The Walking Dead, based upon the comic book graphic novel series. So, Night of the Living Dead, instant classic here. Let's see here. Some of the comments. Mike Jones can't do horror movies. Don't like the Rocky Horror movie show. Let's see. Can't do horror movies, but who can't like the Rocky Horror Picture Movie Show? With the picture show, yes, that is a classic right there, without a doubt. Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell. Maybe coming up. Maybe coming up. We'll have to see. Let's see here. Man, the Burger King new farmhouse burger has a lot of calories. You know, I just noticed that they finally updated the website on that, and I have to update my video. I always have the nutritional information in my videos there. So everything is listed with the exception of just the calories, but everything else is there. So you guys can see the fat content, carbs, sugars, fiber, protein, all that stuff there. So 1,220 calories for those of you guys who don't know. But yeah, I think the Cult Show knows right here. So good stuff indeed there. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Since we're going from Night of the Living Dead, this is also another favorite of mine, and this one I do come back to quite often because it is classic. I was 11 years old when this movie came out, and it is an absolute blast. Return of the Living Dead. This is a pseudo-sequel to Night of the Living Dead, but a little bit more with comedy, a little bit more, I want to say viciousness in terms of how the zombies were. Not too much makeup on them if you ever watch this and take a closer look. But I gotta say, this actually was really, really well done. Again, Luana Quigley, I'm just gonna say butt naked in this one, which really kind of blew people away for what they showed for this one in particular with the sequence in the graveyard area. I will leave that to your imagination. You guys can check out this on your own. But a classic nonetheless here. So just to give you a breakdown on this one here, just when you thought it was safe to go back to the cemetery, those brain-eating zombies are back and hungry for more tasty mortals. Not morsels, mortals. A fiendish mix of outrageous humor and heart-stopping terror, The Return of the Living Dead is a venerable smorgasbord of fun. That's from the LA Herald Examiner. Filled with skin-crawling jolts, eye-popping visuals, and relentless surprise. Now, let me just give you a quick breakdown, because obviously Jason Callan knows brains is the order of the day. On his first day on the job at an army surplus store, poor Freddy unwittingly releases nerve gas from a secret U.S. military canister, unleashing an unbelievable terror. The gas reanimates an army of corpses. Now keep in mind, this facility just happens to be next door to a cemetery. When the gas is released, that's where it goes, so that's how you know they come back. And it says here, who arise from the graves with ravenous hunger for human brains. And luckily for those carnivorous cadavers, there is a group of partying teens nearby just waiting to be eaten. So Leanna Quigley is one of the teens, and essentially the nerve gas agent is something related to the original movie, how they kind of linked it together, and that's how all of the sequels have kind of been since then. But Return of the Living Dead is an easy classic right over here, and this is something that you guys should have in your library. For those of you who haven't streamed this yet, for those of you guys who haven't seen it, it's a classic that holds up. It's corny, it's schlocky, but it really is an awesome, awesome film. Return of the Living Dead, without a doubt. Now, this is going to go back a little bit for some of you guys here, but this is easily a classic of mine, especially if you guys know the name Dee Wallace or Dee Wallace Stone. The original Howling. This one here is 1980, guys. 1980. I was 7 years old when this movie came out, and this had the most intense werewolf transformation scene on recorded film by far, with the exception of American Werewolf in London. So for those of you guys who haven't seen The Howling, this is a real nasty film. This really is probably one of the seminal types of like wolf movies that are out there. Even in recent memory, they just don't make them like this anymore. It's nasty visually. It's pretty hardcore. The ending's a little schlocky for what it is, but really, really crazy stuff here. Essentially, there's like a killer that people are looking for. Dee Wallace plays a newscaster who's kind of like investigating. She's getting tips about something. She goes to meet in like one of the old pornographic theaters from back in the day and witnesses something that she can't explain, which I won't tell anything more than that. But it leads to her going to a retreat where things are not what they appear to be. And this movie, I'm telling you, is, like I said, it's got one of the most vicious transformation scenes, and they actually show a little piece of it right over here in the very back. You can kind of see right there. That's one of the sequences when it begins, and for good reason, guys. This really, like I said, is really an amazing werewolf movie on top of American Werewolf in London. So if you guys see The Howling anywhere online, if you guys see this actually in any place where you actually get your movies, this should actually be in your collection. Avoid any of the sequels. They're all crap. The original Howling from 1980 is amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of my favorites by far. Now, this next one, somebody kind of alluded to already here. The Evil Dead. Now, I actually have this edition of it is the Book of the Dead, which actually, when I got this years ago, this is actually the skin. It's supposed to be human skin on the outside, but it's more rubber. if anything else here. But this is the Book of the Dead, the original. This is from like 1981, I want to say, that the movie first came out. This edition that I have here is from 2002. And this is pretty insane in terms of just graphics. I mean, this was visually a nasty film also. A little cheesy today. It doesn't really hold up as well. But I do have to say, overall, Sam Raimi's early film, he would go on to do Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, you guys may know, and then obviously the Spider-Man trilogy actually is much later on in the early 2000s. So, but the original Evil Dead is definitely a classic by far. And for those of you guys who may or may not be aware, you should be, and I think most of you guys are, Ash vs. the Evil Dead is essentially the spiritual upgraded sequel that takes directly from this movie direct here. So, really awesome stuff. Bruce Campbell. It's all about the boomstick baby and all that stuff. All the cheese that this movie was here. I gotta say, really cool stuff here. So Evil Dead, visually nasty, is not rated. It's actually an unrated film. The original version of it here. Most of the versions out there are unrated because there are limbs getting chopped. There are things going on in this movie that is obviously not for kids. I mean, any of these Halloween movies are not for kids. But fantastic, one of the first films from Bruce Campbell back in the day that he produced along with his buddies, Robert Talbot, and as well as Sam Raimi as well too. So good stuff indeed there. So Star Vlogs, Sarah, yes, Bruce Campbell, you know, of course. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Love the scene with the topless Sybil Danning, and the second one, Jason Callens. Yes, in terms of Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Good stuff in there indeed. All right, going down the line here. Let's see. Jason Callens. Good stuff. All right, so Evil Dead, classic by far. If you guys are fans of Ash vs. Evil Dead, you obviously know where the source material comes from, and it is the original. They're really expanding upon it nicely over at Stars over there. So classic, along with Evil Dead 2. I probably should have had that one out too there. That was more of a remake sequel, if I can call it that. A lot of the rights they had some issues with that, so they had to redo a few things, but it really expands upon the story just a little bit on that one. All right, guys, we are nearing, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more to go. 6 more to go, and I'm doing okay on time here. 8:36, about halfway through. All right, I'll take a few comments here before we jump in since we're at the halfway mark. Vengeance, would you consider Batman the Killing Joke psychological horror? For an animated film, possibly, yes. Killing Joke is actually a fantastic graphic novel. Not for kids, clearly. With somebody getting shot, paralyzed, and a few other things that are pretty nasty going on. But I would say psychological, I would say, especially for an animated film that they've made it into. But great graphic novel. Let's see. Cult 45, can you do a review on El Pollo Loco new corn bowls? We'll have to see. I was just at El Pollo Loco today, and they have some new shrimp tacos. Baja crema corn or crema something. It's brand new that I saw there. So I have to see if I can swing back. I haven't done a pollo review in a while, so we'll see. Let's see. I'm going to review the zombie frappuccino from Starbucks. No, I'm not interested in that one at all. Not a super fan of that. Personally, it looks okay for what it is, but I think that ship has already sailed on what that is for sure. Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2 were classics as well. Philly Feet, we may see if they make an appearance. Coming soon. We'll have to see here. Very cool. Larry Nguyen, have you had our show called Gotham? Gotham is good. Gotham is actually really good for an alternate universe version of the Batman stuff. Really a fan. Madowix is going to be watching Jigsaw on Tuesday. I almost wanted to watch that tonight, believe it or not. Fan of the Saw movies. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that one's going to be. I haven't seen any reviews on that one, and I personally don't want to. I want to go in fresh. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the supposedly next version of Jigsaw, even though that supposedly ended. All right, next up, guys, let's move on right along and over here. Take a look at The Fog. Guys, this is a classic here. Not the 2005 remake with that guy from Smallville. No. This is the original John Carpenter back in the day, guys. The Fog. This is a classic right over here. More of a ghost story, if anything else. This actually had really creepy atmosphere. Jamie Lee Curtis working with John Carpenter again. This is really something else here. Talking about the Elizabeth Dane, which was a clipper ship that kind of crashed on the rocks. A pirate ship from back in the day. And the crew comes back for vengeance because they were actually sent there. Essentially, it was a story of like a leper colony that were cast out, and they were supposedly given passage. They were trying to come back, and they were following a lighthouse, and eventually they were kind of misled. They crashed on the rocks. They were killed, and they come back for vengeance, claiming what was rightfully theirs in the small little town in there. Now, the reason that I kind of really, really like this film on top of it is because the church that was used in this film is actually here in Pasadena. I should say Sierra Madre. If you do a search for some of the Halloween videos that I've done on my channel, you'll find I did one of the reviews. I want to say, what was it? I think it was at the end of the Pumpkin Milano one. I think it's Pumpkin Milano. The Pumpkin Milano cookies, when I was doing some of those things back then. At the very end of it, I actually did a little quick, at the very outro portion of it there, I was on the outside of the church. This is actually in northern Sierra Madre, right here, literally about maybe 5-10 minutes from where I live. That's the church they used in this film. So I gotta say, it was really cool to see that. And they had the original stained glass windows. Everything looked the same. It was really pretty cool. So I gotta say, it was pretty awesome right there. Whoa! What do we got? Cult 45. You'll float. You'll float. Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love the original It. I know it's cheesy, but of course the new one is flat out amazing. I love that. I love the film for sure. Cult 45 lighting up the red balloons. Poor Georgie. Poor Georgie. But anyway, The Fog, like I said, crazy, crazy awesome atmosphere. It's a ghost story. It's creepy. Things that come out of the fog. It really is cool. The last scene, I'm not going to give away what happens for those of you who haven't seen it, but inside the church, when you see all of the crew coming back for vengeance with their lit up eyes, it was just something else. I mean, it creeps me out even to this day. When I was a kid, it creeped me out. But really just an amazing ghost story. Check out the original Fog. You will not be disappointed by this one by far. Really, really good stuff, guys. The Fog, John Carpenter right there. All right, the next one is in the vein of nasty horror, and I know Jason Callan is probably going to be enjoying this one. He's probably seen this one already here. The original Demons. This one here is considered like Italian gore. This is from Dario Argento, which is one of the classic guys, horror international directors from back in the day. Early 80s, a lot of the real nasty prosthetics. Just really, really gross stuff on this one, guys. I gotta say, this movie is unrated, and it was really pretty nasty. When I first saw this movie, obviously it was on DVD. To give you a little quick shot, if I can show you. A girl right there with stuff falling out of her mouth. It's just a nasty movie. This is kind of like kind of hard to describe. I would want to say maybe like a dystopian future where they have this. I want to, because it's been so long since I've seen this, but I believe it was a movie theater called the Metro, and on the inside of the Metro, people were invited by ticket to go and watch whatever movie they were going to have there. But inside the lobby was a statue with a mask on it. And one person takes the mask off, and when she puts it on her face to kind of play around, or I think it's a guy, basically he gets nicked on the inside because it's got a thorn, and he's instantly, you know, he transmits some type of something into his system there, becomes a crazy demon, he becomes possessed, starts eating a lot of other people, everyone starts turning into demons, and basically it's like a couple of people that have to make their way out of the theater and get out, you know, before it's too late there. But it was so visually nasty that it really just blew me away. So this movie, I gotta say, has got a really, really cool vibe to it. It's like a crazy, I want to say for those of you who are old enough to remember like the early Miami Vice days of kind of like the vibe of Miami, it's got like a really weird vibe to it. But I gotta say, this is really a ridiculously nasty movie in terms of just the visuals. There's really a lot of gross stuff and really good stuff here. 88 minutes long, so an hour and 28 minutes or so. It was made in, I got this DVD back in '99, so it just shows you, 1985. So same year as Fright Night. For the American Fright Night, which was decent back then, you have an Italian gore movie from overseas, which was just ridiculous. So Dario Argento, you definitely want to take a look at a lot of his other films. I think it's Superior, or one of the ones escapes me. I think Jason Callan may have mentioned it before, but he's familiar with a lot of this type of horror for sure. Dario Argento is really one of his mainstay, and I believe his daughter actually took over a lot of it. But guys, Demons. The sequel is actually just as nasty. Takes place in a high-rise building, same type of situation. During some kid's birthday, something happens, everyone gets infected, and this whole building is ridiculous. Suspiria, that's right. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. It was really, really something else, guys. So Demons, without a doubt. And guys, I got to admit, anything that has black silhouettes with light-up eyes always freaks me out. So definitely good stuff there. Demons, without a doubt. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. These are some of the classics. And of course, what wouldn't be a classic without the appearance of the original Friday the 13th, guys. Now, this is the original DVD, so this is actually one of the original poster that's in there as well, and you may recognize all these people get killed in this. But I love the classic poster from back in the day. They just don't make them like this anymore. This is, let me try and go this way over here. But you gotta love it. This is actually, the reason why you're not seeing Jason's hockey mask on this is because Jason was not the killer in this movie. It was his mother. Everybody, I think, should know that by now. This is kind of the worst kept secret ever. Everybody should know this. But the original Friday the 13th, the original unveiling, one of the first, I want to say the first movies for Kevin Bacon, who gets killed in the wheelchair in this movie. Really, really awesome stuff. Cult 45, what about the movie The Sixth Sense? I See Dead People. Yes, it is one of my favorites. I was really trying to pull a little bit from everything because I do have that movie as well. But again, another classic. I know a lot of you guys are going to have your favorites here. So light up the chat thread with all of that stuff there for sure. And let's get that conversation going. But another great film, Cult, without a doubt. You know, of course, the M. Night Shyamalan's classic Sixth Sense. But the original Friday the 13th was just as creepy. Really, really freaky in terms of just the overall, you know, kids getting killed, that type of thing. This was the whole genre of like kind of like the scare tactic. Like if you had premarital sex, if you were, you know, away at camp, you know, you got killed. It was kind of a scary type of thing, I guess. But really, really freaky. And of course, it ends off with the classic where the girl who survives sees Jason jump out at her, and then it becomes the focus of the trilogy, or the first 4 movies, I should say, and then they just continued them on from there. So there's a lot of Friday the 13th films, but this is the classic that begins, and it really was the beginning of a whole new world of horror from back in the day. This was, I guess, 1980 also, another nasty classic, but great, great film, Friday the 13th. All right, this one is amazing, and one of my favorite versions of this is the extended director's cut of The Exorcist. Now, this is probably one of the nastiest films ever made, because at the time, 1973, I believe this one came out here. I believe, let me see if I can see when the date on this one is here. I think it's 73, because I was born in 73, so this movie actually was back then. So it still holds up today for what it is. And just to give you an idea, we'll give you some of the imagery here. In the very back, Linda Blair, some classics. This is really upscale, high-end horror at the time. And it really, William Peter Blatty's classic, directed by William Friedkin, who passed away recently, I believe. Just a classic, classic film. But again, the story of a possessed little girl. Pazuzu is the demon, and you guys may recognize the Pazuzu face from The Exorcist in some of my Cheaters Cam videos. I usually have his little face pop in there every so often. But The Exorcist is easily ranks up there as probably one of the nastiest films ever made, as I'm going this way here, going backwards. Sorry about the chat window block there, but The Exorcist is easily one of the nastiest films out there. Any type of possession film where heads are spinning around, where vomit projectiles going on, and just overall really, really sacrilegious imagery in film. This is probably the king of that for the most part, but really well done. And again, the director's cut adds a bunch of new sequences that were at the time cut out of the original theatrical version, with the whole spider crawl down the stairs, which was actually at the Universal Halloween Horror Nights attraction a couple of years ago, which was cool. But really, guys, The Exorcist is a pretty amazing film. And for those of you guys who don't know, easily just an instant classic. I mean, you should know. I shouldn't even say that, because you should know. A lot of people know what The Exorcist is. So, by far, an amazing, amazing film. The final two requires a little bit of a different approach. So, let me just see if I can just get something together here for you guys. And then we'll get into what I think is the final two. And I'll show you something that may give you a direct idea of what it possibly could be. Because for the most part, I think for most of you guys who know, I'm a huge fan of a lot of the places around town here in Los Angeles and here in Pasadena, where we have a lot of movies that are filmed, and a lot of classic horror films have been filmed in this area as well. So without a doubt, one of my favorite ones is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And this is the actual glove, one of the ones that I bought a while back. Just a huge fan of Freddy Krueger at the same time here. So with that said, let me swing on back here, and we'll go into A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, this is actually the series for the whole thing, actually, that I have over here. So this is actually the full set. It includes it all the way through A New Nightmare, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, and then Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. But I gotta tell you, Freddy Krueger has always been a favorite of mine. And this prop, actually, that I've had for a long time now, has always been one of my favorites here. This is typically in the box that's above me at the time, and it's actual metal, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. So I am just a huge fan of Robert Englund's stuff there as well. This is the glove that I actually took with me and Ken Domick when we actually were touring around during the West Coast Food Tour a little over 2 years ago. We went to the Freddy Krueger house, which was kind of cool. And I had a chance to kind of, you know, he wanted to wear this, he put it on, and he did his vlog with it too there. But I've always been such a huge fan, and I love this glove because it's really metal. I mean, this thing is not cheap. I mean, this is like the real deal. This was, I think, about 120 bucks or so at the time when it first came out, and I got this a while back. So I've had this for a bit. But I'm telling you right now, this is seriously just a really, really cool prop. One of my favorite things. Occasionally I'm Freddy Krueger for Halloween, but more often than not I'm actually somebody else. But good stuff without a doubt. And again, the classic Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite. So out of the group, I would have to say the original Nightmare on Elm Street is easily the one that stands head over heels above all the other ones by far. Nothing against the other movies. It's just that they kind of became a little bit more comedy, a little bit more schlocky at the same time, and without really taking too much more of the mythology. I don't know about you guys, but the third movie is probably my favorite besides the first. I love the second movie. It was trying to be a little bit more, I guess, gory, but bringing Freddy out into the real world towards the end of that film really didn't do it for me. So they went back to basics and did a little bit more of his history in the third movie, Dream Warriors, which was easily the best one besides the first. But I gotta tell you guys, just a huge fan. I love the glove. For those of you who are asking, I see how sharp is the glove. Vengeance Falls, not very sharp at all. They're all rounded off here. This is not very sharp at all. But these are all welded in. I mean, this is really the real deal right here. So it's metal. It's got everything. It's got the pull to tighten in there. So a lot of fun overall with this one by far. So Nightmare on Elm Street, classic. Not the rebooted garbage that had came out a few years ago. No bueno on that particular one. But again, I do love this set. I actually have the original versions on DVD, so they have the grain. So the Blu-ray I've actually had in my collection, but if you notice, it's not opened. You see how shiny it is? You see the seal right there? I've never opened this up. I basically got this when I saw it was on special for Amazon. It was like $19.99, a blowout thing they were doing. And I figured, you know what? Just in the event of, I think I'll just pick it up. I mean, it's a good deal. All 7 of the original films in the collection on Blu-ray without a doubt there. So with that said, I think we've come to the #1 movie of all time, at least for me. And I think for most of you guys who know, I'd love to see if you guys can drop it in the chat right over here. Let me know what you guys think is my #1 all-time favorite Halloween movie. And we'll see if you guys are right. As I am taking a sip of water, because my voice is beginning to go as we're coming up on the last 10 minutes right here. Actually, we're doing okay for time. Now, I hope you guys are finding this enjoyable, going through a little bit of history of some of the horror movie stuff. Derek Levesque says Poltergeist, Sarah says Halloween. Jason Callan says Better Watch Out. Not just because I have a voiceover in that movie. No. I love that movie, though. Don't get me wrong. It really was good. Had a lot of fun with that. Freddy Krueger child murderer who got burned alive came back to take his revenge. Epic Zombie Killer just summarized the Freddy Krueger legacy for you. We got John Carpenter's The Thing. Philly Feet says Halloween. Let's see here. Wow. A lot of you. Blair Witch Project. A lot of people are asking here. I'm probably going to need to do something here just to kind of make sure. Just to kind of give you an idea. So hang on 1 second here. We'll see if you guys can figure this out. Hang on. All right. Halloween. That's right, guys. The Mask. Can you guys hear me okay through this? I hope you guys can hear me okay through this. Halloween it is. We're going to talk about this with the mask on, guys. With the mask on. There you go. Halloween in effect. Michael Myers, the original. Trying to talk through here. This is the Halloween 2 mask that I've got on right now. I definitely love this right here.
Michael Myers has always been a classic of mine, so I wanted to actually throw this on just to show you guys. Seminal classic, amazing stuff. You guys all know that classic theme song, the music, everything about it. I gotta say, Freddy's Food Review is just the things I do for you guys. So, Halloween by far. I've got the full mask. I've got the full outfit that I do. I have the knife. I'm a little over 6'2.5", so I'm pretty tall for it. So it definitely works out here. But as I'm beginning to lose consciousness right now, let me take this mask off real quick, and then we'll continue on with the rest, because this is getting pretty hot already. Hang on one second.
Oh, my God. That is really, really hot trying to do that. This is disturbing, Elizabeth Ricard says. Yes. Well, if you gotta go big. You gotta do it the right way here. So let me just bring this on up, and we'll just have good old Mike right over here. Just kind of face this way. Does that look kind of cool? That looks kind of cool, right? Not too bad, not too bad. Mess my hair slightly, it's all good. So, bring it up this way. One of my all-time favorite movies, guys, by far, aside from some of the other ones that you guys are saying right over there, I gotta say, Pet Sematary I saw really quickly there, Pumpkinhead, another classic, absolutely. But guys, there really is no substitute for the king of Halloween movies, and how fitting is it that it's actually named after the holiday itself here. Michael Myers is probably the most infamous horror movie icon, I think, of all time. Personally, because it really kind of brought the whole forefront of the serial killer that couldn't be stopped, the boogeyman, who really just could not be stopped, to Hollywood. And with all the sequels here, as I'm trying to pull this on over here so you guys can see. Well, you guys get the idea. You guys get the idea. It really was the perfect horror movie. I mean, personally for me, the pacing, the music, all of that stuff there. Yes, I've got the shirt behind me right there. Classic, classic, classic. But one of my all-time favorites, they are actually doing a new version of it coming out next year. John Carpenter's involved with it. It's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be killer. A true sequel. Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back for it as well. So I am super excited about Halloween, guys. It really is, like I said, my all-time favorite movie. I come back to this multiple times throughout the year, always around Halloween. I've already watched this one already there a couple of times this month. I'm probably going to get into Halloween 2. And believe it or not, I like the fourth one. The fourth one is kind of schlocky, you know, for what it was, but it was different. But the idea of just the killer in the very first movie, you don't know his motivations. He's not related to Jamie Lee Curtis's character yet. You don't know any of that. This was really the one to really kind of like, you know, freak people out. You know, once it became more about he's trying to kill his sister, he's trying to kill his niece, he's trying to kill whoever, it was no longer, you know, as good as the original at that point there. But then again, nothing can be because this is the one that started it. It really is the biggest one. This movie was made for $325,000. $25,000 of that was for Donald Pleasance's Dr. Loomis character, just so they can secure the rights, or he can be secured for the role. So originally it was $300,000 for the film. And basically it went on to make $50 million in 1978, just in that time period around the world. So it became the biggest grossing independent film at the time, and that was before it was knocked out by the original Blair Witch Project down the road there. So guys, Halloween, without a doubt, like I said, this is the one. This is the one that really set the tone, and it really is the one that should be in everyone's collection. Including the second one, which I liked as well too here. Pretty awesome. I've seen some mentions of watch the third one, Regular Falls. I just watched the third one a couple of nights ago, actually. Season of the Witch. Doesn't really hold up as well, and it was kind of a cheesy story because it wasn't Michael Myers. People weren't aware that he wasn't in it. It didn't do very well. More of like a science fiction type of thing during Halloween time with the whole Stonehenge angle. But overall, guys, you can't go wrong with the original Halloween. It's a merciless thriller, is what they've called it so many times over and over and over again. It launched the career of Jamie Lee Curtis, and it really is the perfect Halloween movie to watch on Halloween. So this really is the classic. The theme song you guys all know, written by John Carpenter, who just came out with his anthology album, which has a whole bunch of his movie scores, including Escape from New York, which I love, The Thing, just a whole bunch of other films in there as well. Assault on Precinct 13 from back in the day. But the original Halloween is the most recognizable, on top of the Christine music, which is awesome too. So really, really good stuff there. Didn't mention The Shining, even though it is one of my favorites. Tony A is jumping in there. Yes, it really was something else. That really was pretty amazing. I think some people are noticing the flashing skull right above me, right over here. We've got a few different things that are hidden there. So good stuff, guys. So this is my all-time favorite. I think a lot of you guys knew this was coming at some point, and really, really good stuff. The original Halloween. So with that, let's go down the line. We'll answer just a few more comments here. And I am completely tired going through all of this detail of all of these here for you guys. I'm glad I had the opportunity to jump on Friday nights. I enjoy doing this stuff for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And you guys enjoyed my countdown of some of my favorite horror movies of all time. And lastly here, let's talk a little bit about The Walking Dead. I see Epic Zombie Killer. Yes. Not so much a fan of the season premiere. I thought there was a lot of opportunity that they could have written a lot better with that. The idea of all of Rick's men surrounding the whole leadership of the Saviors up on that scaffolding with their guns drawn. They could have wiped out the whole thing right there and it would have been over. I really didn't get that. It was not done as well. I know it was a little similar to how the comic book was done. I remember the sequence. But it just was a little too far-fetched, some of it there. The whole thing, also with Father Gabriel going to rescue, what's his face? Oh, God, it just escapes me right now. God, what was that guy's name? I can't think of his name offhand. But the guy, at the very end, when they all got trapped in the car, I was just like, the guy who just said, the hilltop stands with Negan, that whole thing, was not a fan of just that sequence. It just was not that believable. But again, they're setting things up for what's going to be there, and supposedly All Out War is going to be wrapped up at the end of this season, so we'll see what happens. For those of you guys who have read the comic, I think you all know what will happen with Negan there, so we'll see if they change anything, and we'll have to see that. Gregory, yes, Gregory. All this talking with all these horror movies totally escapes me. Yes, Father Gabriel rescues Gregory, and it was just ridiculous to see him do that. I just don't get it, but it is what it is. Do an In-N-Out review. I've actually done a couple of them. If you take a look on my channel, it was a collab I did with Joey's World Tour, my buddy Joey, as well as my own with Wifey. We went to actually check out In-N-Out. That's actually on there. Do a search for In-N-Out, Peep This Out, and you'll see they'll come up right away. What about Stranger Things Season 2? Going to be getting into it tonight. Looking forward to it right after tacos. I'm excited to get into that. Walking Dead has some of the greatest episodes, occasionally suffers from some really lazy writing, critical leads. Yes, I agree. I agree. Sarah, have I seen Goodnight Mommy? I have not. That may be something to write down, see what that's all about. We'll have to see what that is about. Good stuff there. Good stuff. So, yes, lots of great stuff. Halloween, naturally, is finally upon us. This weekend is going to be the final weekend for people to get their parties going there. And obviously, on Tuesday, I believe Halloween is. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, that you guys definitely do something fun. Get dressed up, do whatever you need to do. I don't know about you, but any chance to go to Halloween parties like all throughout the month of October and to do fun stuff is a blast to do. Went to the LA Haunted Hayride last night, which was a blast. It was the Clowns theme, which was a lot of fun to check out. They did a really great job. You guys can still see some of that content on my IG story before it goes away. And just a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff here. So, guys, with that, I think I'm going to wind it down here and say thank you so much to everybody joining me here tonight. I appreciate it. Can't tell how many people are watching right now. If you guys can definitely let me know, that'd be great. For anyone who hasn't hit that thumbs up down below, I'd appreciate that as well, too. Let's see here. Going down the line, trying to catch up here. Do an In-N-Out. See, MG... do an In-N-Out carb-free review. I may have to do that. Maybe to come back and do a protein style in the wrap. Just to kind of see a lettuce wrap or something like that. We'll have to see. Let's see. MG, read my comment. I think I just did. Trying to get caught up. Cool, we got about 30 peeps that are watching here right now. I appreciate that very much. And the thumbs up too, if you guys can. Definitely, I appreciate it. A lot of fun spending some time with you guys here tonight online like I do every Friday, typically between 9 and 10, sometimes between 8 and 9. I'll definitely send out a tweet somewhat in advance. Make sure you guys are following me on social media at Twitter, or on Twitter, I should say, at Peep This Out, and also on Instagram at Peep This Out Reviews, where I usually put up a little video intro to let you know that I'm going to be doing what I'm doing here a little bit beforehand. And with that, we got 29 thumbs up as well. Thank you so much as well. Guys, I'm actually going to have this stream available on the replay on my Patreon page. You guys can swing on over to patreon.com/peepthisout. You'll find it listed there later on tonight. I'm basically going to be catching up on a couple of videos I need to post there, and then you'll find this one. So all the content that you'll see, if you want to see all of your comments here on the side, everything that you guys have been posting, I appreciate you guys jumping on here tonight. I had a lot of fun putting this stuff together for you, trying to pull some movies that I think would be interesting conversation to keep you entertained. I hope you guys have liked it. If you guys can, definitely like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. New content every single week, like I always say. Really, really good stuff as I'm kind of doing my outro just a little bit right now. But I wanted to take this opportunity again to thank you from the very bottom of my heart, guys. We're coming up on 12,000 plus subscribers. And it's all because of the love and support of all of you guys, and I greatly appreciate that. All the amazing content creators who are on this channel right now, that many of them you'll recognize in the chat, anywhere from Jason Callan to Critical Eats Japan. Sarah is on here too with her vlog channel, food and vlog channel as well too there. It is just an amazing, amazing assortment of just awesomeness here. Just the community coming together and having a good time, and I'm glad I can give you guys a forum here on my streaming software and chat thread to let you guys interact, have a good time, and definitely have a blast. And whatever you do, just do it to the best of your ability and have as much fun doing it with whatever you do. So to everybody out there, everybody on here, far too many people to name that I may haven't already here. There's just all of you guys who have jumped on here. Thank you so much again. If you guys can share this video out with all of your people, that would be an amazing thing as well. But for those of you who are just jumping on, you'll be able to catch the replay over at patreon.com/peepthisout, where you'll find my main page and a few other things there to take a look at. So with that said, you've got some Disneyland videos coming your way. I've got 2 reviews that I filmed there that I'm putting together currently, along with another little surprise that you may see early this coming week. I'm kind of working out a few things here. But if you haven't seen my most recent content, there's the sponsored venison video that I put together for Arby's. That's definitely my own opinion. Again, the disclaimer is in the description. Take a look at that. I wasn't told to say I absolutely like this. It was genuinely tasty, so I enjoyed putting that one together. And of course, we've got the spicy Burger King nuggets from a couple of weeks ago, as well as the most recent yesterday, the Farmhouse King from Burger King as well, which was absolutely delicious to do. And I can't wait to see what Sarah's going to think of her version when she sees it. So Jason did the 1-chip challenge. I just saw that posted there. I'm going to be catching up on some stuff. It was brutal. See if I can try and come across one of those and maybe do that on the stream live. That would be kind of fun if I can find that. So guys, with that said, I think I'm going to close it out for right now. I'm going to remove my chat from my side so I can't see it except for what's on the replay here. So I appreciate it. So guys, with that, have a very happy Halloween. Enjoy Stranger Things Season 2. If you guys have watched it and you're enjoying it, I look forward to getting into it later on tonight with the wifey here. A couple of videos we're going to be doing tonight, or a couple of versions, a couple of episodes. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. And as always, TNK officially closing out the live stream for Friday night, the pre-Halloween edition, spending some time with all of you peeps. Again, you guys can find me on social media, on Twitter at Peep This Out, Peep This Out Reviews, on Instagram, on Facebook.com/Peep This Out, and obviously right here on YouTube. You guys are in the right place for some high-quality content. So with that, this is the end of the official live stream Friday night. As always, a TNK closing it out. And like I always say, I've got brand new content every single week here on my channel. So while you stay tuned for that next review coming real soon, in the meantime, stay frosty.